Henry Nation. For those of you who are looking to make over $250,000 a year as your real estate agent in 2023, this video is for you. So what's up everybody, my name is Henry Eisenstein, and if you don't know who I am, I've been a part of over $400 million worth of real estate transactions, and I'm only 28 years old. And again, in this video, I'm showing you everything you need to know in order to make 250 grand or more per year as a real estate agent. My first thing to tell you guys is you need to know your numbers, right? You just gotta flat out know your numbers. So 250 grand a year is a little under $21,000 per month, right? So let's just call it 21 grand. By the way, this is gross income, guys. There's obviously a very big different thing of grossing 250 and netting 250. Very different things. Just make sure you know exactly what the actual goal here is and exactly what the numbers break down to look like. So we talk about it's 21 grand a month. What's your average commission check? You gotta know your numbers. You gotta know how many properties you gotta sell, at what price points you're gonna be doing this at. So this way you can break down exactly what your metrics need to look like, right? I mean, this is just first and foremost, right? Because if you don't know your metrics, you're just basically winging it and saying, oh, I'm gonna make 250 this year. No problem, I'm gonna make 250 this year. No, you're not unless you know your numbers. And you just gotta follow the metrics, right? Like, and we'll break it all down for you because I got a lot of cool stuff for you. So at 250, 21,000 a month, if your average commission check is 10 grand, that's 2.1 deals per month or 25 deals per year, which again, I'm a fan of just, if you work with me, you know my metrics, I like to always round up. So just go to 3 deals a month, right? So you need 3 deals a month to make sure you make 250 grand or more this year. Break down your numbers. Obviously, if you gotta do 7 deals, if your average commission check is 7 grand, you gotta do 3 deals. I always like to round up, so I always just say go up 1 more deal just to guarantee it and do your metrics off of that 1 larger deal. That means you're doing 36 deals per year. 3 deals a month in order to make 250 grand if your average commission check is 10,000 bucks. So in order for you to close on 3 deals per month, I like to say you need to have about 3 times that in your pending closing transactions, right? So that means in your pending deals, you need to have about 9. If you want to close 3, you got to have 9 multiplied by 3 deals that are pending at all times. In order to have 9 deals that are pending, you probably need to be putting 4 or so properties into contract per month to make sure you're closing on 3 of them at least, right? So every month going forward into 2023, you need to put 4 properties under contract, which means, again, if you work with buyers, you need to be writing up probably somewhere between 8 and 12, maybe 16 offers per month. If you're doing sellers as well, that's gonna give you a little bit of a skewed number because you have to know your number based on your ratios of based on how many appointments you go on, how many are you getting the listing at. If hypothetically you're getting 2/3, so that means for every 3 appointments you go on, you sign 2. That means you need to be going on 6 appointments because if you go on 6 listing appointments, you're gonna be getting 4 signed. 4 contracts means you're gonna close on 3 per month. So you're quickly getting the idea of like, okay, well, if I wanna close on X amount of deals, this is what I need to do. If you wanna have 6 appointments set and then conducted per month, you probably need to set somewhere between 8 and 10 appointments per month. That looks like, let's just call it 12, right? Let's say that you have to double it because you're gonna have some people who cancel or whatever, right? So you need to set 12 appointments per month in order to make sure that you conduct 6, and then it means you sign 4 contracts. Every week you set 3 appointments, which means every other day, if you're working 5 days, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday or so, you need to set 1 appointment. Now, hold on, how many leads you need to be generating on a weekly basis in order to be setting an appointment, which I would probably say you need to be doing at least 3 times that when it comes to leads. So every week, you need to have generated probably 3 times the amount of appointments you set. You need to be getting about 9 leads a week. 9 leads a week will equal about 3 appointments set. Because 1 out of every 3 leads, you probably can need to set an appointment with somebody. And maybe if it's 12, you can be 1 out of every 4, you'll set an appointment. If you're getting massive value out of this video and you want to work with me personally, make sure you check out the first link in the description down below and schedule your free consultation with myself and my team. So if we did 1 out of every 4 as an example, that would bring us to how many calls, right? Or sorry, how many conversations that we need to be having to make sure that we are getting 12 leads this week, right? So if you're trying to get 12 leads this week, how many conversations you need to have? You probably have to have somewhere between 5 to 10 times the amount of conversations, right? So let's just call it 10 times. 10 times the amount of conversations of 12, it's 120 conversations this week. 120 conversations will lead to 12 leads, right? 120, divide that into, because you're gonna have about a 20% ratio of conversation. Even let's just try to do it as a 10% ratio. If you wanna have 120 conversations at a 10% ratio, that means you're probably gonna have 1,200 calls this week, which means divided by 5 is probably around 200 to 250 calls a day. Now again, if you want to make 250 grand this year, you may have to make 250 calls a day. Which, by the way, that can be a really easy, simple metric, which I'm glad my numbers worked out exactly to be like that. It's really that simple. So now you know your numbers, and you know your metrics. This next piece, right, which is important for you if you want to be making over 200 grand a year, right, or over 250 grand a year, you need to be making sure you're making over at least 80 before you make sure you do this. The next step here is to hire your first assistant, right? So if you don't have an assistant, or just to be honest, if you're making under 80 grand, I wouldn't recommend yet hiring an assistant. I would probably make sure that you work your way and make sure you understand the process up until when you're making 80 grand. Once you're past that mark in a single year, I'd probably say, okay, great. Which, by the way, you can do in 90 days, which is if you're trending to make more than 80 grand this year, which means you're making 30,000 a quarter or 10,000 a month, I would recommend hiring an assistant at a per transaction basis, which is really simply put, you bring on somebody, that you pay them $300, $500, $700 per transaction. That being said, I want you to understand, like, in order to make a few hundred a year, you need to have some assistants, which means they're doing all your paperwork, they're inputting your listings, they're handling the transaction, they're doing that. And it doesn't cost a lot for you to do it, right? Like, and you're only paying them when the deal closes, right? It's like the best case scenario in the entire freaking world. Man, if I knew that at the very beginning of my career, I'd have a lot more money in the bank, right? Because I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on salaries. Hire an assistant, very, very important. Really simple way for you to do that. Post on Facebook. You want to make sure they're licensed, by the way. Licensed assistants only. Very, very, very important thing to do. You're gonna have their licensed assistant. They're gonna handle 100% of your paperwork. So that means all of the documentation when it comes to your properties, right? Listing paperwork, purchase contracts, all of the everything from basically contract to close, they're going to handle for you. But by the way, you can say it to everyone, anyone you work with, choose a $300 person and say, like, listen, let's do 3 transactions together. Let's see how it goes. And if they suck, guess what? You can hire somebody else. Now, again, like we talked about, we know your metrics, you know your numbers, all that kind of stuff. Minimum metric when it comes to leads, you want to be generating a minimum 40 leads a month. 40 leads, warm leads a month, by the way. A large portion of that should be referrals. If you're not generating 20% at minimum as referrals, I'm telling you, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to be making, 250 grand without making a lot of cold calls, right? I'm just gonna be honest with you. Because if you're getting like 3 referrals a month right now, the odds of them actually doing something this month, because we all know, like, you get a referral and then they end up not doing something for 90 days or 6 months, right? Like, you understand my point here? So you're gonna really need a hefty lead flow of probably double the amount of leads you wanna close, right? So if you wanna close, again, we talked about closing 3 deals a month, you're probably gonna need somewhere between 6 and 8 warm referrals per month. And then the remaining amount of them can be warm leads from cold calling or any other sources. But you're gonna need at least somewhere around the factor of around 40, right? 10 times minimum the amount of leads you wanna close. And again, to be safe, again, you can watch my other videos, you can play the doubles game and just say 60 to be safe. Now, let's talk about your day. How to have an efficient day. Let's just really break this down for a second, because what a lot of people aren't paying attention to is specifically what the day looks like. So I'm gonna break it down for you. Really just quick ratios. There's only 3 things. Because think about what makes you the most money. Lead generation, being face-to-face with the client or some type of prospect. And the third one is negotiating deals. That's it. Those 3 things make you a fortune, right? Like, everything else in this business needs to be done, but it doesn't have to be done by you because it doesn't make a lot of money. 40% of your day should be on lead generation, which, by the way, lead generation is gonna be comprised of new leads as well as follow-up. The next 40% of your day should be specifically focused on 2 things. Appointments, meeting clients face-to-face, or networking, building the network, which again doesn't have to be face-to-face, but I recommend it being face-to-face, but you can easily just do that over the phone and constantly calling your professional partners, your sphere of influence, your past clients, and building out your network, right? Like, that is worth your time, okay? Because you're expanding your network. And the last 20%, if you don't have contracts to negotiate, the other 20% should be management driven, right? And CEO driven, which is like, how do I increase my business? How do I, look at your metrics, analyze your metrics, build up better systems. How do you improve things with your team member, right? The new assistant that you have in your team. You want to be spending, at least 10 or 20% of your time on how do I improve? How do I improve my metrics? How do I do better? How do I improve my scripts? How do I do better with my relationships? How do I increase the client service? How do I better the client service that I have with my clients right now? So you really want to be spending at least 5, 10, 20% of your time on bettering your business each and every single day, week, month, year, right? Like, a large percentage of your time should be, how do I better me, and how do I better the team, and how do I better my business, right? So that we can do better, basically, again, make more money, right? Lead generation and meeting clients face-to-face, those 2 things are very, very crucial. And by the way, between those 2 things, right, like in the interim of those 2 things, I'm not gonna say a third for negotiating contracts, because you're not gonna spend, on an 8-hour day, you're not gonna spend 2.5 hours negotiating contracts, but those are the 2 main focuses: lead generation and being face-to-face with the client, and or building your network, right? That's it. That's your most efficient day possible. Now, I wanted to make this somewhat actually like conceivable of like exactly what this looks like. So I wrote down the number 12. If each person referred to you, hypothetically, every person referred you somewhere between 2 and 4 leads per year, because you need 12 fantastic professional partnership relationships, right? And if you can just have 12 and each person refers you even 2, that's like really 12, it's 2 a month, right? That means you're probably gonna close probably 1 or 2 deals a month. At 12, you're almost guaranteeing yourself to earn a substantial amount of money, okay? Especially if each one of them is referring you probably like 2, 3, 4 leads a year, right? Like, you're gonna make some fantastic money. And by the way, I have some people in my professional partnerships. I have a few professional partnerships that we do like 10 to 20 deals a year together. I don't need to have a lot of people that I do business with to make a lot of money. You need to have like a few really, really good people that you do a lot of business with. I'm telling you, it's really, really that simple. At 12 people, I promise you we're gonna be making somewhere between $500 and $1 million a year. If you find 12 of those individuals, I assure you, you will make more money, and so will they. That's a very simple way to say, like, how do you make more money? 12 rock solid, unbelievable professional partner relationships where they refer you at least 1 or 2 deals minimum per year. I would probably say your minimum metric is that they refer you at least 2 deals a year, minimum. So if you have 12 people who refer you 2 deals closed per year, guys, you're starting every year at 24 deals a year. And again, you're gonna love the next part of it because this is gonna take that to a whole different level. So the last part of this is like the simplest way to make more money is to increase your split. That's just first and foremost, because everyone always talks about, oh, I gotta sell more real estate. Yes, I agree. You have to sell more real estate. If you wanna make a lot of money, you need to probably sell more real estate than you're selling. People don't talk often about increasing your splits. And this is not a promotion of any type of company or whatever. This is just talking about saying, like, if your split is 50-50, if your split is 60-40, if your split is whatever it is, right? You need to get a higher split. I'm just being honest, right? Like, if you want to make more money, you need to have a higher split. I didn't ask one time to increase my splits until I was making like 300,000 a year. I was making 300 grand a year, and I was like, I was in a powerful place to negotiate, because if I left, that was a problem. For those of you guys who are listening, increase your splits. Now again, if you're in a brand new realtor, it's just something to consider for the following year, right? Like, if you do a great job this year, then next year you're gonna be able to increase your splits. And last one is your price points. So price points is something that I talk a lot about in my coaching program. So many people are stuck with,
well, my market, my market is 400 grand, or my market is 200, or my market is 600.
If your market is 200,000 bucks, find a different market. I'm just being honest, because you are going to struggle to make a lot of money and get excited about deals when your average commission check is 4,000 bucks or 6,000 bucks before commission splits. It's just not going to get you there, okay? Because you're gonna have to sell 1,700 homes in order to make any money. When your average commission check is $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 or more, you're gonna be a little bit more excited to work. And by the way, it doesn't matter what you sell. Like, this is something that every single person who's watching these videos, no matter what you sell, I don't care if it's real estate or not, you need to be finding a way to, basically earn more money per deal. It's very hard to be a multi-six-figure earner in something where you have to sell hundreds of units or hundreds of things, right, whatever it is, or hundreds of transactions in real estate in order to make it, right? I mean, that's just really, really tough. It's like, imagine having to make $1 million a year only doing rentals. I'd go insane. I don't know about you, but I'd go insane. That would be a really, really hard year, right? You'd probably be like, you'd be like a chicken with your head cut off 24/7. But increase your price points, because it's going to allow you to have to sell less real estate, which means work less. Because that's how you have a massive multiplication. Want to understand how I truthfully help agents double their income in 90 days? That's exactly it. So if you're still watching this video, I just gave you my secret away. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you do like and subscribe. As always, I really, really appreciate you following the journey. It means so much to me. I'm always just here to provide you value because I want you to be rich in the real estate industry, okay? And by the way, again, if you have any questions, make sure you put it in the comment section down below. Other than that, love you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.